Hello and welcome to the 2025 Elite Baseball League season preview show live on Aviators TV. I'm your host, Jake DeMichael, joined to my left by former American League Cy Young winner and MLB World Series champion pitcher, who now served as the play-by-play commentator for the Aviators on FanDuel Sports Network South, Jake Reisdorf. To his left, we have the Keller commentator for the Aviators on FanDuel Sports Network South, Dominic Gracie. And at the far end of the table, we have the editor-in-chief at Aviators Digest, Stefan Egnatz. Gentlemen, we have a lot to unpack today, but what better way to start than to start at the top? North Carolina native Madison Bumgarner recently named as the manager for the Carolina Aviators. Stefan, what do you think about Madison Bumgarner taking the reins here for the Aviators?
Yeah, Jake. I think it was a great decision. Let's first talk about what Madison Bumgarner's done in his long career. And when I say long, I'm not joking. He had a 15-year playing career as a starting pitcher. In those 15 years, he won 3 World Series with the Giants. He was a multiple-time All-Star, and in 2014, he even won the World Series MVP. And on top of all that, he was a 2-time MLB Silver Slugger. And as you mentioned, he is a native to North Carolina. He was born in Hickory, North Carolina, which is about an hour outside of Charlotte. He is a proven winner and will definitely help out this team. And I think most importantly, he's going to help out with that strong pitching rotation that they have.
No doubt about that. And one of Bumgarner's first major decisions was who was going to get the ball on opening day. So, Jake, as a former pitcher, who do you believe Bumgarner should give the ball to on opening day, and what do you think about this overall pitching rotation?
So first off, I think this overall pitching rotation is very good. I think it has strength in a lot of different places, and most of the fan base wants Tariq Skubal to take the mound on opening day, but I personally think Chris Sale should take that role because he's entering his 15th season of playing professional baseball, as well as he's coming off of a National League Cy Young winner. So Chris Sale has always delivered when he's been asked.
Dom, what do you think? Who should Bumgarner go with on opening day?
Some guys I got my eyes on is Luis Castillo. He's a 3-time All-Star, and he's been with the Mariners since 2022, and he's been a big factor to leading them to the playoffs. I think he has a lot to prove, and I think he can make his mark on this starting rotation, along with Dane Dunning. He played 3 seasons at the University of Florida, and he went to the NCAA National or Division I baseball tournament champion. He won the World Series in 2023 with the Texas Rangers, and I think both of these guys could do a lot for this team.
Stefan, what do you think about this pitching rotation?
I couldn't agree more with all you guys. I wouldn't want to be Madison Bumgarner. This is a tough decision, but I think guy has to be Chris Sale. You look what he's done in his career. He was a Cy Young winner back in 2024, so just this recently. He was a Triple Crown champion for pitching in 2024. This guy had an amazing year. But a name that I see not a lot of people talking about is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's this young Japanese. He's coming from Japan. Everyone's talking about him. They're calling him the next Shohei. I can't wait to watch this guy play for the Aviators.
For sure. Another thing this roster is full of is a lot of star power. Stefan, I'm going to start with you here. How will some of the stars on this roster instill kind of a sense of confidence among the younger guys?
If you want to talk about stars, Aaron Judge might be the biggest in all of baseball currently. He immediately, when he got drafted first overall by the Aviators, he became their franchise. This is the guy that you market around, you build around, and you hope he's there for the entirety of his career. He's done a lot in his shorter career. He's already been an AL MVP twice. He was the AL Rookie of the Year back in 2017. And just as recently, back in 2024, he helped lead the Yankees to a World Series for the first time in 15 years. And hopefully for the Aviators, that's what they're going to want him to do.
Dom, what do you think? How can these stars kind of instill some swagger in this young squad?
I like Corbin Carroll a lot. 2 years ago, he was the National League Rookie of the Year. When he was in high school, he was named Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Washington as a senior at Lakeside High School. So, he's been in the starlight for a while now, and I think that he can bring that to this team and, show a lot of these younger guys how to, carry themselves in this league.
Jake, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I'm thinking of Francisco Lindor. He has a very infectious smile. He brings a lot of good energy, and he has confidence, charisma, as well as a winning mentality. He also is a 4-time MLB All-Star, as well as a finalist for the 2024 National League MVP Award. So he will definitely create a fun spark into the team and will quickly become a fan favorite as well.
No doubt. Matt Olson, another guy I think that could bring some star power. But one thing when you're rounding out a roster, you definitely need to look for championship experience, and this roster is full of it. Jake, how can some of these guys who have had championship success in the MLB bring that to the Aviators as they look to have an EBL championship in their first season?
I definitely think a bunch of them could be great mentors for the young people on this team. One of those people I had in mind was Austin Riley. as he leads by example. He always puts in extra reps after practice, and he is always locked in during high-pressure situations. He has won a World Series with the Atlanta Braves in 2021, so he definitely fits that degree and knows what it takes to become a World Series champion.
Dom, your thoughts?
Yeah, I actually want to look at two guys that play the same position, both catchers, William Contreras and Will Smith. To start with Contreras, he's a two-time Silver Slugger Award winner and a two-time Major League Baseball All-Star, and he helped lead the Atlanta Braves to a World Series championship in 2021. Will Smith, like I said, also a catcher, two-time Major League Baseball All-Star, and he's actually the first player in Major League Baseball history to win on a World Series roster with 3 teams in 3 consecutive years. So I think I'm pretty excited to watch how these two guys battle out to get that starting position, but I also am curious to see how their championship DNA kind of bleeds into the team.
Stefan, what's your take here?
I loved what Dom just said with championship DNA, and that all starts at the top. I mean, Madison Bumgarner, he has championship DNA definitely, and you look at a guy like Trey Turner. He won the World Series back in 2019 with the Nationals at only 24 years old. Now he's 31. He's going to look for another title, and then I think the Aviators are set up to do it. But a guy who I feel like this is a storyline not many people are focused on, that's Ozzie Albies. He won the World Series back in 2021 with the Atlanta Braves, and he is currently playing with 3 of his teammates that are from that team, which is Matt Olson, Austin Riley, and William Contreras. I mean, talk about team chemistry the Aviators set up.
All right, let's get into some bullpen talk. Jake, I'm going to come back to you as a former pitcher. Who do you think Bumgarner should go with to be the closer and that guy that kind of shuts the door on opposing offenses?
Yeah, so my original thought was Josh Hader. When the game's on the line, he thrives for pressure. And what makes him a great closer isn't just his elite stuff, it's also his ability to stay ice cold in pressure moments. He is a 3-time MLB first team, as well as he led the NL in saves in 2020. So he has everything needed to become the main closer for the team.
Stefan, what are your take on some of these relievers, and who do you think should be the closer?
I mean, it's a stacked bullpen. Once again, this pitching rotation is just unbelievable for the Aviators. A guy kind of interested in just to see how he does is Robert Suarez. I mean, this is a guy that only recently came to America to play baseball. He's originally, I believe, from the Dominican Republic, and he played a lot of his time in Japan. And he was very successful in Japan. He even helped his country, it was Venezuela, I apologize. But he even helped them win a World Baseball Classic back in 2017, and so I'll be interested to see how he, takes to America, how he takes to the game, and see what he can do.
Dom, what are your thoughts on this bullpen?
I like Tanner Scott. He's a one-time All-Star in 2024. He has a career record of 31 and 24, and he has 486 career strikeouts. So not the most eye-popping stats compared to some of these other guys on this roster, but how we just talked about championship experience. This is a younger guy who I think has a lot of potential and has a lot to prove to the rest of this team. And like we've talked about so much already in this broadcast, is Madison Bumgarner. I think this is somebody who has a lot to prove and wants to, set himself apart from the rest.
Yeah, sticking with the bullpen, we've kind of touched upon a lot of guys not from America. Raisel Iglesias, another guy not from America. Jake, I'm interested in being a former pitcher. Is that a tough dynamic, not being from the country and kind of interacting with your teammates?
Yeah, definitely. Some countries aren't very good at teaching their citizens English. So whenever you have an up-and-coming great player like Iglesias, sometimes if you don't get the right English teaching in high school, it can be tough to make the transition, and it can even ruin your career potentially.
We have seen that with Shohei, though. I mean, he came in, didn't speak a lick of English, but he took to the game really well. So I'd be interested to see how their bullpen does. I mean, if they could play like Shohei, might as well call the season over now.
Yeah, I think the league bringing in foreigner players, I think the league's done a great job embracing foreigners and embracing their culture and their talents.
Let's get into some outfield talk. What do you guys kind of want to see from the rest of the outfield in order to complement 2 great players in Aaron Judge and Corbin Carroll? Stefan, I'll start with you.
I mean, for what I want to see is I just want to see consistency. I mean, like you said, they have 2 stars already out in the outfield. They don't need a third necessarily. They just need a guy who can come in every single day. He works his butt off in practice. He works his butt off in games. He's batting well. And a guy I think can do that is Brian Reynolds. I mean, 2-time All-Star. He led the NL in triples in 2021. Imagine he gets a triple and then Aaron Judge is up. I mean, come on. It's unreal. So that's a guy I definitely would look out for, and I hope he can play a big role in this team.
Stefan, what's your take? Or not Stefan. Jake, what's your take on the outfield? Who's the guy that you look for?
So there's 2 established MLB players with Aaron Judge and Corbin Carroll. So I'm thinking of putting a young up-and-coming talent in there, which would be Brent Rooker. He's not the flashiest fielder, but his ability to read the ball off the bat and make accurate throws definitely could be important to this outfield.
Dom, who's the guy you look for in outfield?
Somebody got my eye on is Anthony Santander, as he just mentioned, somebody who could hit the ball and also make plays in the outfield. You know, this is a one-time All-Star. He set the Orioles record for most home runs in a season by a switch hitter in 2024, and also led the Orioles in home runs in 2024. So I think, like I said, this is a guy that can make plays on the ball, both in the batter's box and in the outfield.
Let's round out the infield. So how can some of these other infield guys who may not crack the starting rotation, how do you guys think they could come into a roster that is loaded and make an impact? Jake, I'll start with you.
So there's a very interesting player that could come in called Luis Arraez, and he brings a different type of player to the Aviators. A lot of players in the league have like a showcase set of skills like power or speed, but Arraez just sneakily does the important things. He's known for being one of the best contact hitters in the world, as well as being a 3-time NL batting title, which would back that up.
Stefan, what's your take on this?
I mean, I completely agree with that, and it's another thing we've mentioned. There's so many stars around the entire team. So, a guy I'm kind of looking at is right now is Jordan Westberg. I mean, he's a younger player. He's a one-time All-Star, so he has that ability, to be a bigger guy and be a star. But I don't really think that's a necessary thing that they need in the infield. And like I said, with the outfielders, they just need a consistent guy. They need guys who can fill in every role. They do their job. They're good defensively. They don't make errors. And Jordan Westberg's definitely a guy I would look at that he can definitely do that for them.
Dom, anyone you have your eye on in the infield?
Yeah, I mean, as Stefan said, a guy that can play their role and fill in and do their part. Willie Adames, he won the Heart and Hustle Award in 2021 and 2024. He won a newcomer award with the Brewers in 2021, and he was a member of the Topps All-Star Rookie Team in 2018. Sorry. So, like I said, I think this is a guy that could fit into all those roles and really do whatever you need him to do.
Well, that's all the time we have for you tonight. Thank you for joining us live on Aviators TV for the 2025 Elite Baseball League season preview show. For Jake DeMichael, Jake Reisdorf, Dominic Gracie, and Stefan Egnatz, we wish you a good night, and we hope to see you at the ballpark at American Airlines Field on March 27th for the beginning of the Elite Baseball League in the Carolina Aviator season. Good night, everybody. Ortiz.
Oh, it's Big Poppy, yeah. So if I were a real journalist, right, I'd be like, David Ortiz has never managed.
Juan Soto, Mike Trout, and Paul Skeens are coming to San Antonio. Good evening and welcome to the San Antonio Aztecs 2025 Elite Baseball Preview Show here on Aztec TV, home of the Aztecs. How lucky is San Antonio to be getting these great players? How lucky am I, Nick Licata, your host, to be joined today by Mireya Maimi, San Antonio native and voice of the Aztecs on FanDuel Sports Network. Mireya, thank you so much for being with us today. Born in South Texas, obviously in San Antonio. Jumped up a little bit north to Oklahoma, where she spent some years as a softball player at Oklahoma, former Big 12 Player of the Year, and now back home as the voice of the Aztecs. Mireya, what did the Aztecs coming to San Antonio mean for the South Texas community and the fans?
Yeah, I mean, the San Antonio and Austin area in South Texas have been thought of as a great potential location for a major baseball team for a while now. And the abundance of baseball enthusiasm, which I feel I've experienced firsthand, makes the introduction of the Aztecs something that the San Antonio culture has waited for a long, long time. Current baseball fans in San Antonio are honestly divided among the current MLB teams, the Houston Astros and the Texas Rangers. So this makes the EBL's addition of the San Antonio Aztecs an absolutely huge deal for our city, especially because that hometown pride is really just placed in high school and college baseball. So this is huge.
And this team is going to represent San Antonio as best it can. They feature the Fiesta colors from the parade that started almost over a century ago to pay homage to the Aztecs and the Mexican heritage, and now to be carried on by the San Antonio Aztecs, who are going to be led. It's going to be the mound leading the Aztecs this season. And where else can we start besides NL Pitcher of the Year, NL Rookie of the Year, Paul Skeens, last year in the MLB, who is now a member of the Aztecs. What is Paul Skeens going to provide for this Aztec team?
I mean, compared to all the experience on this team, it really means nothing when Paul Skeens is MLB All-Star Game starter, Jackie Robinson National League Rookie of the Year, selected to the All-MLB First Team. All of these accolades he's already achieved in his rookie season. So I think that when it comes opening day, he's going to get the ball despite all of the other experience on this team, like Corbin Burns, Tyler Glasnow. He's going to get the ball on the first day.
Listen, National League Rookie of the Year is just the tip of the iceberg for this guy. This is what gets his career kickstarted in the MLB. And now that he's joined the EBL, we can really see his full arsenal of pitches. We can see him expand his game. And speaking of that arsenal, we'd be remiss to ignore the splinker, which is an incredibly unique pitch that he trademarked. And we caught up with him at spring training this year, and he told us that it was an accident, actually, that after he won the national championship at LSU and before the MLB draft, he switched his finger by accident and stumbled upon one of the most dominant pitches that baseball has seen. That was a nightmare for MLB hitters. And I want you mentioned Corbin Burns, who's going to be a if this is your number 2 starting pitcher, what is he going to provide? What are some of his accolades so far in his career?
Yeah, with Corbin Burns, the Aztecs have a lot of potential. He's got, just in his last MLB season with the Arizona Diamondbacks, 181 strikeouts over 194 innings pitched. So he's a weapon, and he's got experience. So
really, really dominant starter. And then you still have Tyler Glasnow, who has a 3.81 career ERA, 846 career strikeouts. Garrett Crochet, who is a young talent, been in the league for just 4 years, 3.29 career ERA. And Max Fried dipping down, Aaron Nola, a lot of really good starters. But you can have talent on a roster, right? But you got to have someone to lead it. Who better than David Ortiz? We talked to him. What did he say to us? He said, we're going to bring energy to San Antonio. This is a quote. We're going to bring life to San Antonio, and we're going to bring wins to San Antonio. What does that mean coming from a leader who has so much success in the MLB like David Ortiz?
He's got a long career behind him. He has a lot of experience just with ball. He's 20-year MLB career as a designated hitter and first baseman. He's got so many accolades. Like, he knows how to win, and he knows how to keep it calm on the field and high pressure situations. And I think that will really rub off on the Aztecs. I think that he's a great person to lead the Aztecs in their first.
I like that you focused on the word winning, because he's a 3-time MLB World Series champion, 2004, 2007, and 2013, which at this point is a little over a decade ago. But he's a proven winner. And from that, now we're poaching him from Fox Sports. He's been out of the game for a little while, but you can lose your ability. You can lose your athleticism over time. You can lose a little bit of your talent. You can't lose your leadership skills. And this is something that he's really going to provide to the Aztecs as the season goes on in the Elite Baseball League. It's a new league. There's not going to be a ton of leadership. Who's going to stand out? Who's going to take the reins? David Ortiz is going to be that guy. So now we dip over to the outfielders, and how much time did we just spend talking about these pitchers? Now we go to these outfielders who are just stacked with talent, stacked with accolades, stacked with potential. And I want to start with Juan Soto, who signed a mega deal with the Mets in the MLB. And now he comes over to the Elite Baseball League, passes up on the money because he wants to come to San Antonio and pursue a major championship, a major professional baseball championship. What's he going to provide for this Aztec team?
I think just like the rest of us, he sees the potential in this roster, and he sees the potential to win with this team. He's got 5-time Silver Slug winner, 2020, 2021, 22, 23, and 24. He's a 4-time MLB All-Star. In just the last MLB season with the Yankees, he had an OPS of 988, which is crazy, and 41 home runs in just that season.
Yeah, definitely a really talented hitter. And going back to that word win, which the team is trying to bring to San Antonio, he's a winner. MLB World Series champion in 2019. The guy knows how to win. And then you jump around to center field, and you see Mike Trout. Now, the knock on Mike Trout is, can he stay healthy? He has the name, he has the MVPs, he has every award you can imagine, but can he be on the field for the Aztecs in the year 2025?
I feel like that's absolutely a possibility. He proved himself last season with the Los Angeles Angels, OPS of 866, and I think that he can really bring that to San Antonio. He can really, if he just keeps consistent, could be an absolute asset to the team.
11-time MLB All-Star Mike Trout is, and a lot of naysayers say that his best days are behind him, and what better opportunity to prove them wrong than coming to the EBL. Jumping around the outfield again, Julio Rodriguez, ridiculously talented player. He's got the physical 6'3", 230 from the Dominican Republic. What kind of bat can he provide for the team?
I mean, he hit 20 home runs in the last season with the Seattle Mariners in the MLB. So I feel like he can bring runs to our team. He can bring wins to our team. Win. So, yeah, I think, again, another asset to the team for the Aztecs and just another beacon of hope for, like, the San Antonio baseball community.
And the contrast from Mike Trout, who has the accolades, has the wins, but is on the older side. Now you have Julio Rodriguez, who just in the year 2022 won the Baseball America Rookie of the Year award. A guy who still has his career ahead of him, hoping to keep him in San Antonio for a long time. And just rounding out the outfield, a couple interchangeable guys that David Ortiz is going to have the option to move around. Teoscar Hernandez, really talented player. And I really want to focus on James Wood, who is a player that San Antonio fans should get used to hearing that name. Very talented and very young. This is a youth movement that the Aztecs brought in. It was an interesting strategy in the draft. They kind of polarized having older veteran players and young players to bridge the gap. And rated the number one prospect in baseball by Baseball America in 2024. He was in the MLB minor leagues and now is a member of this Aztecs roster. What do you think the young players can contribute for this Aztecs team this year?
I think the young players are able to contribute that long-term athleticism and speed, but I also think that the incorporation of these older veteran players with lots of experience is good for them because they can learn. They can learn from those experienced players that have experienced those wins and those titles. So I think that the combination of that experience with that youth is really going to be huge for the Aztecs.
So we have the outfield, we have the pitchers, and now you look inward. You look towards the infield, and you look at some of these bats and some of the success these guys have had. Bryce Harper in the infield, are you kidding me? This team has the tools, they have the leadership. You look at Bryce, two-time National League MVP, 2015 and 2021. When you look at a guy like Bryce Harper, who came in with so many expectations just mounting on him in the MLB, he was such a highly touted prospect, and he battled with, you know, the high expectations and the high standards. And then you look at his career. What have you seen so far in his career and how much he's accomplished?
I've seen that he's absolutely proved himself being the first pick in the 2010 MLB draft. He had a lot of weight on him, but 4-time Silver Slugger Award winner, 8-time MLB All-Star. He's definitely proven himself. And just in the last 2024 MLB season with the Philadelphia Phillies, he hit 30 home runs and an OPS of 898. So he's still up there, and he's definitely able to contribute to the San Antonio team.
And that's when you love to look at a guy like James Wood, who they might not necessarily be in the same position, but you can talk about personality, and you can talk about how to deal with expectations, how to deal with stress, how to deal with the fans and the outside noise. Do you want to listen to it? Do you want to use it as fuel? Or do you want to tune it out completely? And I think that's what this Aztecs roster has a good balance of, is leadership, mentorship, and guys who are moldable, teachable, willing to learn, and have the tools to have that success. Looking around the rest of the outfield, Pete Alonso, power bat. Jazz Chisholm, speed, power. Salvador Perez is going to be bouncing around either at first place or behind the plate. Marcus Semien, Bo Bichette, JT Realmuto backing up at catcher, and O'Neal Cruz. Bryce Terang, Junior Caminero. Who of these guys are you most excited to see in the infield?
I'm honestly, it's hard to pick because this roster is stacked. I feel like Jazz Chisholm, that's a good pick because I feel like at 27 he's kind of in the middle range. He still has that youth, he still has that power, but he also has more experience than others. But he's not, near the end of his career, so he can stay with San Antonio for a while.
So all of those guys are going to get you through about 8-9 innings. And who do you bring in at the end other than Edwin Diaz, who's drafted to be the closer, two-time MLB All-Star? What are you going to see out of him and the other reliever, Ryan Walker, coming in to be a reliever as well. But Edwin Diaz, what are you going to see out of him?
I think that he's proven himself to be a great relief pitcher. He's proven himself in high stress situations and really bagged those wins for the New York Mets in the last MLB season. 84 strikeouts over only 53 innings pitched. So he's really proven himself in those clutch situations.
When you hear the trumpets coming out, we'll see if he keeps his song. And the trumpets are coming out for us. We're all set here wrapping up. Thank you for joining us in South Texas tonight. Hey, mark your calendars. March 27th, the Aztecs will open their season at the brand new Valero Field. It's in downtown San Antonio, right near San Pedro Creek. March 27th, they take on the Seabirds. For Maria Mimi and I, Nick Licata, have a good night. Thank you for joining us.
celebrations, even picking up or anything on the mics. It'll pick you up where you're seated. Don't feel like you need to talk into them.
Salt Lake City, it's showtime. With the first pick in the inaugural Elite Baseball League draft, the Salt Lake Seabirds selected two-way phenom Shohei Ohtani. I'm Tristan Hewitt, host of Seabirds Live, and this is the 2025 Salt Lake Seabirds preview show. I'm joined by Seabirds color commentator Ben Deal on ESPN Call 700 and former NL Reliever of the Year and editor-in-chief of Seabirds Online, Mike O'Grady. Guys, with opening day right around the corner, there's a lot of chatter about the Seabirds roster. But before we get into the roster, let's talk about the man at the helm, Brandon Phillips. Mike, what do you got?
Brandon Phillips, 4-time Gold Glove Award winner, 5 different teams in his career. He was a really solid player with the Reds back in the early 2010s. He wasn't a superstar, but I think during his career he was the perfect future managerial candidate in the league. Just everything about him screams respect from veteran players, and that's with the amount of talent on the Seabirds team. I think that's what you want from a guy like Brandon Phillips.
Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with what Mike said. He played in the MLB for 17 seasons. So when you look for a guy that you really want to be managing a team, experience is one of the things that really comes to mind at first. And Brandon Phillips really has that experience that I think he could be a really good leader for the Seabirds team.
And, Brandon Phillips coaching, but when that game starts, we're all looking at one man. That's Shohei Ohtani.
Absolutely.
He was the first pick in the draft. What more can you say about him? He can hit, he can pitch. He's going to do it all for the Seabirds this year. This is the face of the franchise. What does Shohei bring as a hitter, Ben?
Pretty much everything. I mean, he was arguably one of the best hitters in the MLB when he was still there. Now he's here with
I
the
think you'd
EBF
have to
with
say
us.
best.
He is the best. Won the MVP, won some World Series over in the MLB. I mean, when you think of just a pure contact hitter, Shohei Ohtani is the name that comes to mind.
And they talk pure contact, but still, 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. When you're inventing a club, there's not really much anyone can tell you. But, he's not just a hitter. Obviously, Tommy John surgery, hoping to be on the mound this year. Mike, what does Shohei bring as a pitcher?
What Shohei brings as a pitcher, it's amazing that he can do what he does while he hits as well. Just low, sub-3 ERA, enough to get Cy Young votes in the years where he was pitching for the Angels. It's just amazing on both sides of the ball, and that's something you can't say about any other person on the planet.
Absolutely, and obviously, he's known for that velocity. What do you think that his secondary pitches bring? If maybe there is some slight, waning in velocity with that second Tommy John surgery?
Well, we're going to have to see what happens, what his arsenal looks like when he comes back. Obviously, it might be a bit different from what we saw with the Angels, but I think the Dodgers, they like prioritizing velocity, obviously. You see how many of their pitchers get hurt, unfortunately, but, you're going to see a lot of crazy breaking balls. So we're going to see Ohtani throw a curveball with maybe 12 inches in break, something crazy like that. But, yeah, just on brand for the Dodgers, and that's what I expect to see out of him from his secondary pitches.
And who knows? We've seen him do a lot of things. Maybe he'll go out there and throw with the left hand.
Oh, yeah,
But,
that's possible.
Shohei's not going to be on the mound for opening day. It's a very talented pitching staff in Salt Lake City. Mike, who do you think is going to be, or actually, no, we'll start with you, Ben. Who do you think is going to be starting opening day for the Salt Lake Seabirds?
I think that Zach Wheeler is the clear choice. He's been one of the best, most consistent pitchers in the MLB for a very long time. Since he started in 2013, he's 5th in total innings started. So I think that for a team that's just starting their first ever season, they need someone seasoned. They need someone that knows how to handle these kind of situations with a lot of pressure. I think Zach Wheeler's the guy.
But obviously, we said this is a very deep rotation. Wheeler's not the only candidate that can start on opening day. Mike, who do you think should be out there opening day?
Well, I think Blake Snell is an excellent second choice, if not Wheeler. Blake Snell has found success with the Rays, Dodgers, Giants. That's 3 different teams right there, all with established success. His curveball is near unhittable. And when he's on, he is on. He's had some seasons that get up there in 7.6 FWAR, which is insane for a pitcher. His baseball savant page is pretty much all red. He does walk a lot of hitters, but there's nothing really more that you want from a pitcher.
Absolutely. So we get away from the rotation a little bit. We're going to look at the Seabirds infield. We'll start at the corner here. We got Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Mike, what is he going to bring to Salt Lake City?
Well, he's going to bring that placata power that he was known for in Toronto. Vladdy Jr. That's just it, like big power. His bat has only gotten better as he's been in the league. He's going to wow these fans in Salt Lake.
And then obviously, there's a junior at the end of that name.
There is.
Ben, what do you think, coming from a baseball family and that, veteran presence through his whole life, growing up in a baseball clubhouse, what does that bring to him as a player?
Yeah, obviously he was born and bred to play baseball. His dad is one of the greats. So obviously he's been around it his entire year, so he has that understanding of the game. People were a little concerned about errors with him in the last couple seasons, but I think he's cleaned that up. He was a Gold Glove winner in 2022. People forget that about him. So I think that on a new team, he's really going to step up and show that leadership. And with that power, he's a great fit for the Seabirds.
So you talk about the defense there. There's been talks that he might play both corner infield positions this year for the Seabirds, first base and third base. And we'll move over to his partner next to him on the diamond, second baseman Jose Altuve. Veteran guy. Mike, what does he bring?
He brings 2 World Series titles with him. One of them could be disputed. I personally think Altuve was free of those accusations, but regardless, you got veteran leadership with Altuve, an experienced guy that has won. He was playing in Houston for over a decade. He saw the worst of those Astros and the best of those Astros. So to bring a guy like that in Salt Lake, that's really important.
Absolutely. So we're going to go over to third base now. Rafael Devers playing third base. Ben, what does Rafael Devers bring to Salt Lake City?
2018 World Series champion. He's really proved himself. He hit 375 with a 1,006 OPS in minor league baseball. So he's proven that he can play at both levels of baseball. He's a 3-time All-Star, 2-time Silver Slugger. He's been around. He knows that he can be a good hitter. He also finished 5th in home runs in 2023. So along with Vlad, he brings that power both corners will be very well taken care of for the Seabirds.
And then before we jump to shortstop, we're going to talk man behind the plate. Speaking of power, Kyle Raleigh, Ben.
Big dumper. I love Cal Raleigh, man. Apart from all the historic things that he's done for the Mariners organization, hitting that walk-off home run to send them into the postseason for the first time in 21 years, he's been one of the best defensive and offensive catchers in the league. He's got an incredible amount of power that most catchers aren't really able to achieve. So I think that he's really going to be a good leader for the Seabirds, especially on offense.
Yeah, and then, people are going to notice we did leave out one position. There's one spot in that Seabirds infield that there's some question marks. Who's going to be starting at that shortstop position? Mike, who do you think?
Well, I'm going to go with Gunnar Henderson, and the reason I say that is because Henderson is entering his age 24 season, and he is as much of a burgeoning superstar as any other in baseball. He had a 9.1 BWAR last year, and which crazily wasn't enough by a shortstop in the AL, but you're talking about a guy that is so young and so good, just both at the plate and in the field. This is a guy that I don't think you could. He's the third best shortstop on the planet, and none better than him are on the roster.
Absolutely. But then there's another guy who has a little bit of that experience,
Well-
a little bit of that pedigree.
Well, I think there's a forward argument for the other guy, and it's high drive. It's tied.
Ben, what do you got about Corey Seager?
290 career batting average, 135 career OPS plus. I mean, this guy has proven that he can hit the ball well. He's also 30 years old, so he can be a leader, He was the runner-up for the 2023 AL MVP, and he's one of 4 players to win multiple World Series MVPs. He's proven that no matter what stage he's at, he can perform, and I think that is one of the most important things you can see in a shortstop.
So it seems like no matter who the Seabirds choose, there's going to be a good decision to make.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have.
Yep. So we're going to look at the outfield now. Obviously we have Michael Harris Jr. out center field there. But the real intrigue here is the 2 young Jacksons in the outfield. Mike, what do you got about Jackson Chorio?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that Salt Lake looked out with both of these guys on the team. Out of the 3 Jacksons in the league right now, I think these are the 2 that you want. Jackson Churio, I am so high on Jackson Churio. It's unbelievable. Hit 2 home runs in a playoff game. He's just 21 years old. His baseball's above pitch isn't really impressive that yet, but 21 home runs as a 20-year-old rookie. I mean, we haven't seen that kind of stuff since Juan Soto was with the Nationals. So just Jackson Churio is going to be one of the best players in the league, and give 2 or 3 years, maybe even this year.
Mm-hmm. And we've heard about the Jackson 5. We have the Jackson 2. Ben, tell us about Jackson Chorio, or excuse me,
Merrill.
Jackson Merrill.
Jackson Merrill is almost as impressive as Jackson Churio. He's also
Almost.
also 21 years old. He was drafted in the first round in 2021, and he's already in the league performing as well as he is. And in his rookie year, he was top 10 in NL MVP voting. You don't get that high in MVP voting unless you're doing something really special. He was top 5 with a 292 batting average for the NL in 2024. He proved that as soon as he got into the MLB, he could be one of the best outfielders in the league. I think the Seabirds have a cornerstone for a very long time.
And Tristan, I just want to say, too, like Churio and Merrill, you look at the teams they were on in Milwaukee and San Diego, you had guys like Christian Yelich, William Contreras, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado. Churio and Merrill last year were the best players on both their teams, except for maybe Devin Williams on the Brewers. But as rookies, just both of those, it just gives off a level of
Sensation.
Electricity.
Yes, that's the word.
Electricity.
Thank you,
It's
Ben.
incredible that these guys are performing so well at such a young age.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And going through career paths, they're only going to get better.
So we're going to take a look at the bench here now, rounding out the Seabirds roster. We have C.J. Abrams, who made his first All-Star team last year with the Nationals.
Solid player.
Christian Walker, who is as solid a glove as any, as gold a glove as any at first base, if I may. And Cody Bellinger, former MVP, brings the Seabirds some flexibility, can play the outfield, can play first base. You have Yander Diaz, who another guy can play first base, can catch. Mark Vientos lit it up for the Mets in the playoffs last year. And Seiya Suzuki, young player who's really starting to come into his own as an outfielder. And before we wrap up here, we're going to talk about the bullpen. 2 electric arms coming out of the bullpen. Mike, who do you think should be the closer for Salt Lake City?
Well, I don't think the state of Utah has seen anything like Joan Duran's right arm. That guy can throw triple digits with an off-speed pitch, which nobody else on the history of planet Earth can say, unless some caveman was throwing a rock that hard or something. But just electricity is the right way to put what he does on the mound. not many hitters in baseball could hit off the ran, and I think by default he's the closer on this team.
Ben, there's another really good arm in that bullpen though. What do you got about Andres Munoz?
I love Andres Munoz. He's incredible. His whip is below 1, was below 1 in both 2022 and 2024. The guy just throws strikes. And that's what you're looking to do. That's what you want to see when you're looking at a closer. You want someone that can throw strikes, get some soft contact, and just end the game as quickly as possible. So I think that Munoz makes a really strong case for being the relieving pitcher for the Seabirds.
And speaking of closing, that's all the time we have tonight on Seabirds Live. We'll see you guys March 27th at Smith's Ballpark for opening day. For Ben Deal and Michael Grady, I'm Tristan Hewitt. Have a good night.
The website is it also pimps
Hello and welcome to the Nashville Party Hour on FanDuel Sports Network Nashville. My name is Rebecca Joswiak, and to my left, I'm joined alongside network color commentator Luke Dragoni for FanDuel Sports Network Nashville and Alex Jakovic, head staff writer for Nashville News. To start off, let's look at Party Horse head manager Todd Helton. Luke, tell us more about Helton's position with the team.
I mean, Todd Helton's a recent retiree, one of the newest Hall of Fame, actually, inductees. So we're looking at a guy that hit 300 over his whole career. He led the Rockies to a World Series. He's always been kind of a veteran presence in that locker room. Even towards the end of his career, he kind of was very well respected along with all of those young guys. So he's just he's the perfect old soul in a very young locker room. That's exactly what those guys need, especially kind of reshaping a pretty tough roster.
With an old soul in the locker room, let's throw it over to Alex where we can discuss batters.
Yeah, if you want to talk about an old soul as a leader, we actually have a young flame leading the batting order with shortstop Bobby Witt Jr. He's coming off a season where he was the runner-up for the MVP, only falling short behind a historic season of Aaron Judge. He played nearly a full season, slashing incredible numbers across the board, 30 homers, 100-plus RBIs, 977 OPS, stole 30 bags as well. He's the reigning batting champion. He set rookie franchise records with his last club for multiple different stats. I mean, it's really a true stud that you won, leading the way. So I think that parlays into the rest of the infield with the guy who's going to be manning the hot corner, Jose Ramirez.
I mean, me personally, that's a guy I'd love to have at least manning third or second. He can play multiple positions. He's a proven guy over about 6 or 7 years, 5-time Silver Slugger, 6-time All-Star. He's had 100-plus RBIs 4 seasons straight. He's a 3-time MVP finalist. I mean, the guy's perfect, especially next to Bobby Witt. These are two guys that, regardless of the rest of the infield, they're going to cover most of the ground, and they're going to hit most of the home runs that are going to be responsible for a lot of that lineup. So being a guy that's in the 30-30 club, every single year he's going to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about some of the beasts of the infield. We have a guy who dabbles in infield and dabbles in outfield. And it's a shock that we haven't even touched on him yet. It's Fernando Tatis Jr., El Nino. He's only 26 years old. He's got so much career ahead of him, and he's already left a huge mark. I mean, some people might discuss the fact that he has some injuries. He's had to deal with some suspensions, but last year he got into the triple digits in games played. He got to 100, and that pushed him into the 20-homer club. I mean, look, he's a 2-time All-Star. He's a 2-time Silver Slugger. Just in 2021, he led the National League in home runs in 42. He has a long list of positive things that we can talk about and disregard the negative, and that's an absolute weapon to have on this Party Horses roster.
I think there's so much hopeful for a guy like that, especially just because we haven't seen a full scale, but even in those 180-game scales, he's proven to be one of the best players in the league. And look, infield or outfield, a guy that's going to be perfect next to him is Kyle Tucker. I mean, this is a guy that's got a great glove, but also been a great bat over his career, hitting 290 over a lot of seasons at this point. And he's going to hit 20 to 30 home runs every year, and he's been a guy that's played on some of the biggest stages. He's won a World Series with the Astros, and he's won a World Baseball Classic with Team USA. I think he's just the perfect guy. Even stats up or down, I think he's going to be so consistent to have in that locker room with everybody around.
Mm-hmm. You talked about winners. A guy who wins, and a guy who, again, is going to be part of this outfield and possibly the DH, is Kyle Schwarber, Schwarbomb. Fans love moments. He was a part of the Chicago Cubs' magical 2016 World Series. We're talking about moments on Father's Day when he was a part of the Washington Nationals. He homered 3 times in one game. That's astonishing. That's incredible. Fans are going to love to come to the ballpark for the Party Horses to watch Schwarbomb, Kyle Schwarber take it yard outside of Dollar General Park.
I mean, he's perfect. Look, the bat is never going to go unnoticed with a guy like that. And just kind of segueing into the next guy, Ketel Marte is another guy that's kind of improved his bat as he's aged within his career, being another 290 hitter, and even last year hit 36 home runs over a short scale. He missed about 30 games, and even still, he was a top MVP candidate, and that's another guy. This roster seems filled with guys like this that could all break out and be 30 home run, 100-plus RBI guys that all could be MVP-level dudes. And me personally, I truly think that this roster could really compete on a big scale.
Certainly so.
As for third baseman Royce Lewis, Lewis experienced a grade 2 hamstring injury in a spring training game a few weeks prior to signing with the Party Horses. How can Nashville keep consistency for a potential third base platoon?
So, when you have a guy like Jose Ramirez who can carry a load as a third baseman, you're not looking for another guy who can carry the load at third base. You're looking for a guy who, almost like in the NBA, a microwave scorer. You're looking for a guy who can be a spark plug. And Royce Lewis is exactly that. Yeah, he's dealt with injuries over his time, but he has the hype and he's lived up to it in his limited time playing at a major or a professional level. He was a first overall pick in the 2017 draft. He's lived up to that. In the limited time between injuries last year, he was slashing over 400 batting average and a 1,300 OPS. He was, without lack of a better term, he was raking. And that's something that the Party Horses will never say no to. And I don't think it's going to be much of a concern when he doesn't have to carry the whole weight of the world on his shoulders like he might have had to do at his previous establishment.
I think it's perfect, even though you're gonna have to move some guys around, no doubt, with injuries, dealing with it. But another guy that's proven to play a lot of positions is Jarren Duran. It's a guy that can cover all of the outfield, no matter where you put him. And even being younger, he accumulated an 8.7 WAR last year. The California native has proven to be so effective on both sides of the ball, regardless of where he's put. And even when he's off hitting, he can steal a couple bags. He's going to make some great plays in the outfield, and he's going to be so effective in the locker room. Another team that's kind of young and up and coming, he kind of really led them to some serious victory. And I think that he's going to be perfect on this roster as well.
We get further down this roster, you start maybe looking into more of the depth guys, but the depth guys on the Party Horses don't really play like depth guys. Let's look north of border to this one with the first baseman, Josh Naylor, and you will not miss him when he's coming. He's built 6 foot, 250 pounds. I mean, do you see the size of I'll say backside since we're on air. Do you see the size of that thing when it's walking up to the plate? You know he's going out there to send that ball into the crowds, and these families are going to walk home with souvenirs. 31 home runs last year, 108 RBIs, a 1.5 WAR. He plays winning baseball, and he plays it fun, and that's exactly what the Party Horses need.
Looking at another certified fun guy, we got Shea Langeliers, and I love this guy. He's on a pretty crappy athletics team last year, but he was still able to slug 30 home runs with 80 RBIs and 750 OPS. I mean, another great guy that is not going to be missed. Another pretty large dude that's going to be coming up to the plate, and even in a platoon role. If these are our depth guys, if this is the depth to this team, me personally, I'm just shocked that this is how deep a roster like this goes. Again, another potential 30 home run candidate with platinum glove defense. If this guy can even just be the backup to this team, he's going to be so effective for them.
Yeah, we don't want to miss Shea Langeliers' defense here, talking about how quality it is, and that's what a team needs behind the dish. Speaking of dish, actually, this brings us right up to our next player, Jake Burger, whether you want to call him Burgatron, the king of sliders, Smash Burger even. Jake Burger is an electric factory to have on this Party Horses team. He's a first-round pick. He had a walk-off grand slam against the Detroit Tigers. And honestly, something maybe a bit sad, but happy for the fans to gather behind is that prior to the season, he announced that he was going to be switching his number to 21 in honor of his daughter, who was diagnosed with trisomy 21. So this is somebody that the fans of the Party Horses are going to be able to get behind, not only for the emotional story, but just because, I mean, how can somebody not root for somebody with the last name Burger?
I mean, totally right. There's something more to baseball when there's emotions tied into it. And I think looking at another one of his teammates, something very emotional, one of his former teammates, Wyatt Langford, is another guy that this team grabbed. Very young guy, and has some spotty slash lines for his first couple of years, but it looks so upside with a guy like this. He's a top speed guy, great glove. He finished 7th in the AL Rookie of the Year voting, and he's a Golden Spikes finalist. The guy is another 5-tool player. Regardless of what they give you, it's going to be so impactful night to night. So I think Evel Knievel is perfect for this squad.
Yeah, there's a lot of young talent. That takes us also out to center field with Bretton Doyle. He's pretty basic in the sense of you're going to get steals, you're going to get home runs, and you're going to get elite defense. And if you are looking down at your roster with guys who aren't going to set the world on fire, this is what you want, somebody who can plug holes in different aspects of the game. Go get me 20 steals. Go get me 20 homers. Go get me a web gem out in center field. Brenton Doyle will do that job for you.
I think there's a certain level of trust when you put guys out there, and that's kind of big when we're looking at Matt McClain next too. Is this is a guy that missed all of the last season, but within the stats before, he's proven his worth. Whether it's on the field hitting 290 over his career, or even hitting 15 to 16 home runs a year, this is a guy that has proven consistency. And when you've got a roster this deep, you just want to grab guys that are consistent and proven and going to hold up everything for you.
Consistency is key, and that takes us to that'll take us to the last guy here, the catcher, backup catcher behind the dish, Logan O'Hoppe. Registered 136 games, batting around 240. It's hard to find catchers in the pros that will do high-level offense and high-level defense. And if you can get a guy who can play some really solid defense like Logan O'Hoppe and get on base at a decent clip, batting 240 and OBP sitting around 300, has a little bit of that power stroke to him. He put up 20 homers last year. I mean, you can't ask for much more out of the backup catcher position. He'll fill that in nicely.
Guys, we focus plenty on the infield and their hitting abilities. Luke, what can you say about the Party Horses' starting pitching depth, and what should we expect from the bullpen this year?
I mean, first things first, top dog, Jacob deGrom. Arguably one of the best pitchers of all time over his scale. A 1.08 ERA. I don't think that's ever been touched by another pitcher to my knowledge. And if this guy's healthy, we're looking at the rest of it, one of the craziest pitching staffs I've ever seen. So this is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. This is a 4 times All-Star, a Rookie of the Year. He's an MLB first-team guy. He's arguably the best at his position when he's healthy. And this is not a replaceable guy. I mean, this is what a team with that many bats needs to be backed up with a great pitcher. And I think he's just that.
Yeah, I mean, you covered pretty much everything you need to cover about DeGrom. If you want to get into the weeds and the numbers about it, certain people really like to focus on that. He was the MLB ERA king in 2018, putting up a 1.7 ERA. In 2018, he also led the MLB in ERA plus at 218, FIP at 198, and home runs per 9 at a minuscule 0.4. He has 2 other top 10 finishes for MVP, 6 top 10 finishes for Cy Young. I mean, it's a laundry list of accolades for Jacob deGrom. And if you're going to have a true ace leading the rotation, you need a true ace up your sleeve coming out of the bullpen. And that's where we turn to the closer of the Party Horses, Devin Williams, 6'2", 195, that prototypical reliever build. He's been around the block. He's 30 years old. He may not have as much career in front of him as he does behind him, but he's an absolute weapon. He's finished top 10 in Cy Young before, and he'll do the work as the airbender, as some like to call him.
All right. Well, folks, that's all the time we have tonight. Make sure to look out for the Party Horses opening day debut at Dollar General Park at Broadway Field on March 27th. My name is Rebecca Joswiak, alongside Luke Dragoni and Alex Jakovic. Have a great night.
Good evening, San Juan, and welcome to the premiere show of Tortugas Live. I'm your host, Matthew Stein, joined by former Gold Glove third baseman and current Tortugas color commentator on sjtortugas.com, Isaiah Summerlin, and on the far end is his partner, the Tortugas play-by-play commentator, Amin Sadie. Now, guys, this is a 2025 season preview show for the San Juan Tortugas of the Elite Baseball League. Before we dive into this roster, let's talk about the guy leading this team in Dusty Baker. Obviously, he brings a ton of experience. Isaiah, I want you to start us off. Kind of just tell us what you think about this hire.
Thank you, Matt. I mean, obviously, Dusty Baker has had arguably one of the greatest managerial tenures of any coach in the majors. I mean, he's won a World Series with the Houston Astros in 2022. I think the Tortugas have found their guy to lead them to deep playoff runs and potential championships coming up here.
Isaiah, I couldn't agree more. Not to mention his World Series as a player and his two-time All-Star appearances as a player. He has a great knowledge of the game, which translates well to this Tortuga.
Now, got a question. From a manager's perspective, do either of you think Dusty Baker is going to have any issue going from the MLB to the EBL?
I believe he doesn't have an issue transferring. For Dusty himself, I believe that he has all the tools and is capable of really making that transition and probably being the smoothest out of most managers in that league.
Now, obviously, Dusty Baker, he's going to have a huge decision to make when it comes to the starting pitcher. This team is loaded with starting pitchers. And Isaiah, who do you think Dusty's going to give the ball to come opening day?
I mean, when you're looking at these guys, Matt, I mean, you got a lot of live arms in that rotation. I mean, but I think the guy for Dusty Baker has to be Dylan Cease. I mean, he has a career average, earned run average of 3.75. I mean, last year his earned run average was 3.4. I mean, throughout his career, over 1,000 strikeouts. I mean, this guy knows the game of baseball and knows how to get batters out, and that's what you want in an opening day starter.
I mean, do you have any different thoughts on that?
I agree with Isaiah. Dylan Cease is the go-to pick, but you can't forget or discredit Max Scherzer at all. Two-time World Series champ, a silver slugger at his position, which is very hard to do as a pitcher. I believe he can produce a lot, and it's going to be very exciting to see him in the EBL.
Yeah, I mean, this rotation has a ton of arms. I also want to point out second-year pitcher Shota Imanaga. He had a sensational rookie year with the Cubs, racking up 15 wins, and only had a 2.91 ERA. Hunter Green has also been picked up by the Tortugas, has a career ERA of 3.9. So it's going to be really exciting to see what these two can kind of do this offseason. Pitchers aside, let's move on and see who we're going to have around the diamond. Isaiah, since you're the Gold Glove infielder, why don't you start us off and just tell us who do you think the real standout guy on this infield is going to be?
Yeah, I think the Tortugas have a lot of guys coming in the infield to provide great bats and great fielding, but I think the main guy that we're looking at here is Mookie Betts. I mean, a three-time World Series champion, won 2 with the Dodgers and 1 with the Red Sox. I mean, when he played for the Red Sox, won an MVP. I mean, this guy has playoff experience. I mean, he's gonna lead the younger guys in that dugout, and I think Mookie Betts is gonna be a good guy to watch out for.
You know, you also have 2 young guys like Elly De La Cruz and Bryson Stott, but then you also have 2 more seasoned veterans like Freddie Freeman and Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, in a scenario like this, if you were a manager of this team, how would you kind of work through this? Would you have your younger guys start first, have your olders be the backup, or would you want to have your older guys kind of mentor the younger guys through the season?
Thank you, Matt. I think with a player like Mookie Betts, with his versatility, he can play outfield, he can play second, and if you really want to put him at second, with the season that Elly De La Cruz had last year, put Elly De La Cruz at shortstop, I think that would really help the Tortugas in the long run. And obviously, Freddie Freeman, I mean, how can you discredit Freddie? 2-time World Series champ. He won the NL MVP. He won the World Series MVP with the Braves. You can't take away his credit, and we believe Freddie has to have the start there on majority of the playing time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I want to point out 2 other players who were not previously mentioned. Jake Cronenworth and Manny Machado, both players coming from the San Diego Padres. And obviously, Manny Machado, I mean, big-time name, super, super good player. I mean, his fielding is off the charts. He can easily put up 30 home runs if he needs to. Jake Cronenworth, definitely a guy that flies under the radar. Do you guys see him getting a lot of time in this rotation?
I mean, yeah. I mean, when you finish second in National League Rookie of the Year voting, when you come in, I mean, you got to see some time on that ballpark. I mean, Jake Cronenworth's a very good player. I mean, 2-time All-Star. I'd love to see Dusty work him in a bit for the Tortugas.
Now, let's jump back to the outfield. This team has a young yet very experienced outfield. For example, you had someone like Stephen Kwan, who is only 27 years old, but batted a little bit over 400 for a stretch in the majors there. Made his debut in 2022, and he's already become one of the best contact hitters in this league. Isaiah, let me hear your thoughts first on kind of how this team's going to rotate throughout their outfield.
I mean, Stephen Kwan has to be in that rotation, but you got guys like Ronald Acuna Jr. and George Springer. I mean, that's a lineup. That's an outfield with a whole bunch of power and a lot of glove in that outfield. I mean, those are older guys like George Springer. He's won a World Series. He's won a World Series MVP for that matter. I mean, you got experience, you got winning, and you got a lot of defense, electrifying offense too. So it's going to be fun to see this outfield work and progress throughout the season, and I'm excited to see this Tortugas outfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Amin, as an announcer, which one of these outfielders really excites you the most from just a pure commentation perspective?
I have to say, a young guy who had a breakout season is definitely Lawrence Butler. His speed and power made him such an incredible and exciting player to watch, and I can't wait to see his transition over to the EBO and see what Dusty can really do with him.
Now, I got a question for both of you. Amin, we're going to start with you. From purely a batting perspective, who do you think stands out the most in this outfield?
It's got to be Yordan Alvarez. I mean, the guy has 164 career home runs. He slugged 460 feet before. The measurables on that is insane. There's no doubt in my mind that he'll be hitting one to the Atlantic Ocean real soon, come March 27th.
Yeah, and then Isaiah, from purely a fielding perspective, who do you think stands out?
From a fielding perspective, I'd have to go with Cedric Mullins. I mean, the Tortugas acquired him from the Orioles. I mean, he doesn't have a hot bat. He hit 30 home runs last year, but doesn't have a great hot bat. But when you put him in the outfield, I mean, he's going to make plays left and right. I see him, every time I turn on the TV, and watch the Orioles, I see him shagging balls left and right in the outfield. I mean, Cedric Mullins is going to be a great guy for the Tortugas.
Yeah, absolutely. He was a home run robbery machine last year. And then as we round out kind of this infield and outfield, who do you guys think is going to be in the DH spot come opening day? Mean, we'll go to you first.
One guy to look at for that DH spot is definitely Alex Bregman. I mean, the guy has a World Series champ, and I feel that at third base, Manny Machado or even Bryson Scott could get the majority of the playing time there. But Bregman provides a solid backup defensively, which would really help the Tortugas and still bring the power in bat.
Yeah. Isaiah, you got any different thoughts on that?
I think Bregman is a solid choice as a DH here, but we have two great catchers in Adley Rutschman and Wilson Contreras. I mean, one of those guys can provide a lot of power if one of them are sitting on the bench, and I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that you brought up the catchers because obviously Adley Rutschman, younger guy, only been in the majors for, I guess, 2 full years now.
Yeah.
Then you got Wilson Contreras, who gone back and forth between catching and first base. So if you were in Dusty Baker's shoes, who do you put in first? Do you decide to put Adley Rutschman in, or do you kind of go with your more experienced player in Wilson Contreras?
It's got to be Rutschman. These past 2 seasons, I mean, he's been incredible. Obviously, Contreras has the experience over him, but I feel like Rutschman has really solidified himself as a top 5 catcher in this league. And I feel like the transition over to the EBL is just going to be perfect for him. Mm-hmm. And with a good veteran leader in Contreras is going to help him. The two will pair amazingly together.
I'd have to agree with you. I mean, I think Rutschman is also a top 5 catcher in this league. I mean, Contreras, yes, he has the years, he has the experience, but I think when you watch Adley Rutschman play, it's electrifying. You love him in that 2 spot for the Orioles that they got him batting in. And I mean, now that the Tortugas have him on their team, you got to use them. You got to use your resources. And I mean, Rutschman is, I think, catcher 1.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, covered a lot of great players tonight, no doubt about it. But I think we really need to get into the real bread and butter of this team, which that comes in the relievers. They were able to draft Brian Abreu and Felix Bautista, who were arguably just lights out in the majors. Now, Bautista did miss the whole 2024 season due to Tommy John surgery, so I think he's poised for a big comeback. But the two biggest names that everyone has heard of are Emmanuel Clase and Mason Miller. So, two of the best closers in all of baseball. Isaiah, we're going to come to you first here. Who do you think gets that first pitch as a reliever? Do you think it'll be Clase or do you think it'll be Miller?
I think when you look at the resumes and look at these guys, it has to be Emmanuel Clase. I mean, he's a 3-time AL saves leader. I mean, 3-time All-Star, 2-time AL reliever of the year. I mean, this dude averaged a 100-mile fastball and a 100-mile cutter. I mean, any pitcher is nervous to face that guy. I mean, and then to just match up a slider at 90 miles an hour to come back with it, to get batters out. I mean, this dude is scary to face, and I know Dusty Baker's going to have a tough time picking between Mason Miller and Emmanuel Clase, but it has to be Clase.
You know, Isaiah, I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one. Mason Miller might be young, but he has proven himself to be that solution for that problem. And I think with his stats, he's recorded a 103 fastball and a 103.6 fastball in the All-Star game, the fastest fastball in an All-Star game of all time. So I think he definitely doesn't have the experience over Clase, but I think when you really want to get over the hump and win those big games, I think you really have to go with Mason Miller on this one.
Yeah, you know, two good arguments there, but I guess we'll just have to see what happens comes opening day. All right, folks, well, that is all the time we have for tonight. You can see all of your favorite players live at Honeywell Park on March 27th for opening day. Once again, I'm your host, Matthew Stein, joined by Isaiah Summerlin and Amin Sadie. We hope to see you out at the ballpark. Thank you and good night.